Olivia. Thank you so much again for taking the time to sit down and chat with us today. Are you back in New York now?
Yes, I'm home. I'm very happy, very, very happy to be home.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I feel like you've had like a really hectic like past month of just like traveling and everything.
No, but I'm excited. I remember after we did the photo shoot, I was on the plane and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to just be sleeping. I slept the entire next day after I got back
Oh my
from the
gosh.
city. It was great.
Yeah, because you were traveling the whole week before. I was like, oh my gosh. Melatonin probably worked.
A lot of melatonin was taken on that plane. I won't lie to you. Yes. And then I landed, it was 4:45 New York time, and I watched the sunrise, and then I got to my apartment and I just put all my curtains down and I was like, good night, world. Goodbye.
I mean, very valid. I think I would have done the same.
Yeah.
So let's kind of go back to the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of your upbringing and what it was like growing up in Naples?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I loved my upbringing. It was quite interesting. I'm from a very beachy, cute hometown. It's called Naples, Florida. And I mean, basically, my entire upbringing was being at the beach, revolving life around sports, school, very normal, I would say. And I did professional water skiing for quite a large part of my life, as well as running. And then I just always had a very strong passion for taking photos and being in photos. And my friends and I would always pack our cars up with a bunch of clothes and go around our hometown and take photos everywhere. So that was always absolutely adorable. And that kind of made the leeway into now what I wanted to do with modeling.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That also sounds like so fun, just like growing up by the beach. I'm jealous because I grew up an hour from the beach, which I guess isn't that far, but is kind of far.
No, I get that. We were like 10 minutes and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the biggest blessing. I thought everyone was like that. And then I started moving away and I was like, oh, now I'm in New York City. And I'm like, oh, we don't really have a beach for quite some time.
What do you do outdoors in New York now that you can't just like drive 10 minutes to the beach?
Oh, I have a pool at
Oh, there
my
we go.
apartment, which is, I mean, it's not open most of the months, but it's open for like 2 or 3 months in the summer. So recently I've just been going up there and just everyone has 9 to 5 jobs. So it's great because I just go up there when no one else is there and it's great.
Oh, that's nice. And you get your little taste of home with like being by the water.
Yeah, literally, it's amazing.
When you were a child, was there anything that you like dreamed of becoming when you grew up?
Yes, ever since the ripe age of 13 years old, 14 maybe, I wanted to be a Victoria's Secret angel. That was the only thing that I knew or could even process. And that's kind of, and I was, the upbringing with like Alexis Wren and the VS Angels. And I remember just watching all of them. And I remember super vividly the day that Josephine Scriver got her wings for being a Victoria's Secret angel. And I remember just looking at it and being like, that will be me one day, I promise.
You've manifested. You're in so many like Victoria's Secret campaigns now. And I mean, I think they don't do the angels anymore, but
But it's still amazing.
yeah, you still made it. I want to talk a little bit about your career as a model as well. Can you tell us more about how you got your start as a model?
Yeah, I very randomly, I applied online. My best friend at the time had gotten signed in Miami and she posted it and I was like, congratulations, oh my God, that's like so amazing. I was so, 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 so happy for her. And she was like, girl, like I just applied online, like you should as well. So I went outside the next morning before class in a bright pink swimsuit and I took my little digitals and I sent
Aw.
them to not every agency, but I probably sent to like 4 or 5 in Miami. And Wilhelmina in New York City actually reached back out to me, which I thought was random because I was in like a swimsuit is very much of a swim vibe. And my old agent ended up like asking me for more photos and then so forth and so forth. He called me and was like, when can you move to New York? And I was like, babes, I'm 17 years old. Like that's not happening. And then, COVID shut down. It was a very interesting process of how it all came about because I was technically signed with them, but then I moved to LA. And then once kind of the modeling industry started opening up a bit more, then I started working in LA and now moved to here.
Yeah, did you kind of move to LA for modeling or was it just because like all your friends were there?
Yeah, I moved to Los Angeles because this content house called Hype House asked me to join them, and we were in the middle of co or the beginning of COVID, and my best friend and I were just kind of like, you know what? Let's do it.
Oh my God, wait, that's so cool. Also, we did a feature with like Jack Wright. I don't know if you guys were in it at the same
Yeah,
time.
we were. He was the bedroom right next to mine.
Aw, that's
Mhm,
so
very cute.
fun.
Yeah.
Do you remember what your first job was as a model?
Oh my gosh.
A long time ago.
Oh my gosh. Like I remember I did, oh my gosh, what even was that? It was for this workout brand that it was for their launch of their workouts. Like for it was a launch for this workout brand, but they never ended up launching. So I did the whole photo shoot for them and it never came out. So that was very depressing. I was so excited to see everything, but then it never ended up coming out. And then I know with this agency, my first job I worked for them was Victoria's Secret. So
Oh,
was
that
great. That was
amazing. Perfect first job.
literally was a complete dream.
Yeah. You're with IMG now?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was like, I feel like they rep a lot of like Victoria's Secret like models and angels.
Yeah, they really do. It was a blessing.
Yeah. What are some like valuable lessons that you've learned from your early experiences as a model?
I would say being yourself, I know it's so cliche, but being yourself is the most important thing when you are such your own individual. You often gravitate towards people who are also like you. And I think that's great in like a brand perspective is so that you work with brands and with people who you have interlocking personalities with.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Are there any projects or campaigns you've worked on that hold like a special place in your heart?
Oh, definitely. I would say the first year I did Sports Illustrated was like an absolute, that will always hold such a beautiful place in my heart. And then I did the Victoria's Secret Pink's holiday campaign last August, I believe it was. And that was like the one campaign that I knew I really, really wanted to do. And when I booked it, it was like such a whirlwind. I remember the day I like flew home from it. I was super tan. I was like, of course, I'm shooting a holiday campaign like in the
Oh my
peak
gosh.
of summer. I was like, of course, but still some of my favorite imagery that I've ever shot. And the set of the day was I worked with amazing girls as well on set, and the team's my favorite people to shoot with. So it was quite an amazing day.
Oh, that's amazing. I was like, I feel like you've had some like really cool shoots like over the past few years in your career.
Yeah, it's been very fun.
And then you mentioned that you moved to LA when you kind of got started with Hype House. How did you first get started with social media?
I just quite literally was posting videos in my home and posting little clips of my life, and nothing was ever on purpose. I was never intending or posting with the intending intention of it getting attention from people. And I think posting one video and that doing performing well and then so forth just kind of it's like, oh, like people care about my life. This is fun. And then I kind of just went and kept on posting things that they would enjoy.
Yeah, did you start first like with modeling or with kind of like just posting on socials?
They were like both at the same time. Like I applied to my modeling agency prior to social media and then signed with them. And then like a week later, the social media started and then COVID stopped. So then modeling stopped, but then social media grew. And then it's become like a so forth and so forth thing,
Oh, that's really cool. So you've kind of been able to grow the two at the same time.
which has been awesome.
Yeah. Do you remember what your first like viral video was? Or like the first video where you felt like it was kind of like everyone was like watching it?
I posted a leg butt workout in my childhood home, and I remember I posted it right before I went to dinner, or it was at dinner at my home because of COVID. And when I checked my phone like an hour later, it was at like 3 million views. And I was like, whoa, that was crazy. And then within like 24 hours, it got like 10 million views. I was like, this is insane.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's also so cool that it kind of like started where y'all grew up, where you
Yeah,
like
like
yeah.
in the bed, it was so crazy.
Aw. And then with posting on social media, obviously there's like ups and downs. Like how do you handle like negative comments or like criticism online?
Me personally, I just like to block it out and I don't look at it. I don't pay attention. I think a lot of people have also adapted that as well, which I think has immensely helped people's mental health in this standpoint because I think it is very hard to read such negative things about yourself from other people. So I think the best thing to do is just like knock it out.
Yeah, no, I think that's super valid. I think I'd probably do the same, honestly. I think if I ever posted on socials to like a big audience, I would just turn all the comments off.
Exactly.
And kind of in a similar vein, like how do you deal with like imposter syndrome or like how do you stay true to like who you are?
This has been up and down for me, but I think in the past year I really perfected it with like having a really good group of people around you who aren't in the social media world kind of help with staying true to yourself and finding out what you actually like as a human being. And I think I was growing up as I was being on social media, so I was still trying to figure out myself as who I am as a woman. And having those people around me really taught me a lot about the types of friends that I like around me, the types of friends that I want to be like. So I think it has a lot to do with the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about like how your like friends or like your core group kind of like helps you like stay grounded in those moments?
Yeah, of course. I think the biggest one is we do a lot of very random activities around New York City. Like we go to cooking classes, we will work out every single day together, we will go on our walks, we'll go just even go get like dinner one night and just like have those opening conversations and we'll play games where we get to know each other on a deeper level. And I think having people that really understand you for you is for me personally, since I'm so emotionally deep, I think that is something that has helped.
Yeah, no, I love that. I feel like especially like I've had friends where like they moved to New York and they've told me like I feel like it takes like finding your core group to kind of like center yourself.
It really does.
I'm glad that you've kind of been able to do that. And then what have you learned about yourself throughout like the past few years of your career on like social media?
I mean, again, going back onto, I think I developed as a human being while being on social media. So I think my entire identity and like how I viewed myself has completely changed. I think when I first started, I was a 17-year-old girl who was, not the most confident girl in the world, but I still was figuring out things. And then over the past, what, 3, 4, 5 years, I've been able to grow into somebody who I not only like, but love. And I love spending time with myself. And I think from the ages of 17 to 19, 20, I couldn't bear the thought of being alone. And now it's like all I want to do.
Really interesting. Do you think like social media kind of helped you like become more comfortable with like being alone?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say social media. I would say modeling had helped a lot with that because when you travel, you're by yourself most of the time. So I think being in different countries and different cities by yourself has taught me a lot about, again, my preferences, what I like, maturity levels, different human beings and how I like to interact with them. So I think that would be the main thing. I think more so modeling than social media.
That's really interesting. I never thought about that because I feel like when I'm on set, there's so many people, but I
Hmm.
guess like you have to actually travel to get there and you would travel by yourself.
Yeah, no, fully. And once you're in a random country for 3 days by yourself, you're like, oh, I really understand myself now.
Yeah. What do you kind of do like if you're like doing like travel jobs or where you're by yourself? Like what do you kind of do to like fill in the time between like jobs?
Oh, hopefully I'm somewhere near. I mean, honestly, I'm normally in a beautiful city or I'm in some type of beach location or I've never shot somewhere that's like not absolutely beautiful. So normally I just walk. Like in my free time, I go eat, I walk around the city. I like to, I mean, normally we're in historical cities, so I'll go and look at the different landmarks. I'll go try the countries or cities like most famous food that they're known for. And if I'm really tired, I will take a nap. But normally that doesn't happen.
Yeah. No, that sounds really fun though. I mean, you get paid to like go to these cool places and it's like
So
basically it's a solo vacation.
literally, it's amazing.
Yeah. Like with social media, obviously you have to think about like being like what kind of constitutes like your online presence and what you kind of choose to stay like private to you and like what you keep offline. Like how do you kind of decide like what to share?
I think for me, it's like a feeling. And I can understand it if I go to make a video and I'm like, you know what, I actually want to keep this just for myself. It's from like in that moment intuition vibes where I know some people who are like, this part of my life I will share, this part of my life I will not share. I don't think it's really like that for me. I think it's just kind of based on the day to day, what's going on.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then like as a public figure, like do you feel like a responsibility or like you kind of like feel like you should like be advocating for like mental health awareness? And like how do you approach that if you do?
Every single person should, just to make the conversation more seamless so everyone does feel comfortable speaking about it.
Mhm.
And I think every person should do it in a way that makes them feel comfortable because, again, being an influencer, whatever you want to call it, you shouldn't feel the need to talk about anything, but you should want to because it's just a part of a conversation and it's making you feel confident.
Yeah. And then like thinking about like mental health, like how do you kind of prioritize your own mental health like with kind of like modeling and like social media and like kind of these industries that are very kind of appearance focused and also very like fast paced?
Wait, say the beginning part of the question again. I'm sorry.
Like how do you kind of prioritize like your own mental health?
Okay. Um, I would say there's definitely days where I just don't go on my phone and will lock my phone away for a little bit. And I just did actually for the past 4 days, I did like mental health days where I basically, I mean, I've been traveling for quite honestly the past month straight. So I did 4 days where I just did work around my apartment. I went to the gym. I did very like simple things that would make somebody happy, in my opinion. And I always use the term like I can't fill up other people's cups unless my cup is full. So these past few days, really just focusing on that. And now I'm going to Paris tonight. So I'm hopefully going to be able to be on my best behavior and fill up everyone else's cups.
Oh my God, that's so exciting. Are you able to share like what you're going to Paris for?
Not yet.
Um, And then kind of, I really love that kind of like phrase about like kind of like having to fill your own cup before like being able to fill like other people's. Can you share kind of like other ways that you kind of like unwind or like that kind of help you balance like your professional life with your personal time?
I mean, love a good Netflix show. I do pretty religiously, honestly. Whenever I'm in New York City, I will take like an everything shower. All girls know what an everything shower is. And I like turn the lights like pretty much close to dark and I'll just like shower and blare music for like actually an hour and a half. And then I come out to the shower and I put on a really cute outfit and I watch Netflix while I cook myself a nice meal. And then I go to sleep due to melatonin very early. And that is like my perfect self-care night.
Honestly, that sounds amazing. I was like, I need one of those.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
What did you watch? What was the last show you watched on Netflix?
I'm watching Sex and the City right now.
Okay, I still have not seen
Forgotten.
it, and I know you like put it on the worksheet, and I need to
Yeah,
watch it because of
it's
that.
I'm having or I'm on I think season 2 right now of my first time watching it. And I think it's like teaching me a lot about New York City, the dating life, all of that. It's great. I love it.
I may watch it and decide I also need to move to New York.
No, literally.
Touched a little bit on kind of like your friend group in New York and how they kind of like help you stay centered. Like, who are the people in your life, like either personally or professionally, who have like inspired you the most?
Oh, this is such a great answer. I mean, this is a great question, not a great answer. I'm sorry. I would say for the people that inspire me the most, oh my gosh, there's so many different people. I would say like starting off like Emily Ratajkowski, like the way she balances everything in her life is something that I look up to so immensely as she is a mother. She has written her own book. She is a full-on supermodel as well as she travels. She has her own bikini line. Like she really does everything. You can tell that she cares about everything she does as well as she puts in a lot of effort. So I think she's somebody that I've always kind of looked up to in that standpoint. And then obviously like the OG Victoria's Secret Angels for like everything. My entire Pinterest board is them. And I don't know, specifically, I love Josephine Scriber. I just always have been such a fan of her as an individual, like the way she speaks towards the LGBTQ community as well as working specifically as a model is chef's kiss.
I love that. Yeah, thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that. And like obviously like with like both modeling and social media, like you're a role model for so many young people. Like what message would you hope to share to like these people who are kind of like looking up to you?
What's like, is there what specific message?
Yeah, like is there like a message or something that you would like want to share with them or want them to know?
I would say like again what I was talking about, like be your own individual self and focus on learning who you are because once you are a confident individual and you become so secure within yourself, like nobody can really mess with your emotions or your feelings. And once you have like a clear vision of this is what I want, this is who I am, your my happiness is at an overall 10 out of 10 because of that. So I think that would be something that I encourage every single person to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. And then it's currently June, which is like also Pride Month. Would you be willing to share like a little bit about your coming out story and like what that experience was like for you?
Oh, stressful story. No, I'm kidding. I mean, honestly, it was always kind of a thought in the back of my brain. Never was going to do anything about it because I had struggled with a lot of internalized homophobia. I just was like, no, I don't fit into the picture of what, a stereotypical person a part of the LGBTQ community looks like. And then I fell in love with someone and they were a female. And then I was like, oh, I'm in love with a girl. I think I'm a part of the LGBTQ community now. And that was just a beautiful unfolding and, telling my parents and all of that was like something that is so near and dear to my heart. And yes, it was hard. It was 100% hard. It's hard for everyone. And but to have like such supportive people around me now and to have people who really just think like love is love, like it does not matter who you love, nor should it really matter to anyone who you love, but having people who would be completely accepting of anything has been such a beautiful thing to have in my life.
Yeah, no, I love that for you. And I think it's like, I think it's really good to hear that like everyone around you has like been really supportive because I know sometimes it like isn't always like that.
Yeah, 100%.
And this like, I feel like this is such a weirdly phrased question, but like, what does like pride mean to you or like, what does like celebrating like pride look like for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think pride means to me like being able to be proud, like the word itself, like being able to be proud of who you are in whatever standpoint that is. And I think for a long time, people, I mean, even myself, like I was scared. I was scared of what other opinions were going to be. I was scared of my parents. I was scared of my friends and if they were going to still be, okay with me and the choice of the person I was choosing to love at the time. And I think, especially during the month of June, being able to, have that extra, I'm really proud of who I am and just, being around people and focusing on the history of what it has taken for us to get to here as a community.
No, that's really great. I love that. And it's like I feel like June is always just like a such a special month, like for that reason.
And everyone's always really happy, so I love that as well.
And like, are there any like LGBTQ like individuals who have like inspired you? And like, if so, like why?
Oh my gosh, I feel like there's so many. I mean, I don't even know if she's a part of the LGBTQ community, but Adele recently during one of her concerts, I believe it was, somebody said like pride sucks, like yelled it during her concert and
Oh,
she went off on them. And I just remember this was not too long ago either. And I remember just being like, wow, like that's amazing. Because, I feel like sometimes, or even like when Harry Styles was going on tour and he brings his, the rainbow flag out during some of his songs, or Madison Beer when she goes on tour and she has the rainbow flag around her. It's like little things like that really mean a lot to the people who are watching it.
yeah, no, I love that. And then how do you kind of like use your own platform to like help to advocate for like LGBTQ rights or like visibility?
Yeah, I mean, I think visibility is like the most important thing and just getting people aware of like what's going on in our country, I would say necessarily. And I think just, I've worked with different, I mean, I've worked with the DNC about across a lot of different situations. And I think getting information from them directly and being able to share it with people has been something that I've really enjoyed doing. And that way I know and have the peace of mind, like this is real information that is coming straight from them and not just from a random website online.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then like why is you touched a little bit on like kind of like visibility being important. Like why is visibility like so important in that context?
I mean, I think like we're talking about with mental health, like the more it's just here and around us and normalized, in my opinion, it's going to be the best for us because then it will be something that is just normalized and it won't need to be as much as like a deep, hard conversation where it can just be normally like, hey, this is what I'm going through, da 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 da. And then hopefully we get to a part where it is like that and is still celebrated.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And then kind of looking forward, like, are there any other like causes or like social issues that you're like passionate about advocating for in your career moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, a lot specifically. I mean, I've always been very I don't know that we're very interested, I guess would be the word, on ocean conservation because, oh my gosh, I could go on and about that topic itself. But I think, I mean, not even with anything to do with like political standpoints, but just like global warming and the fact that global warming is affecting our oceans and that's affecting our coral reefs and our coral reefs are dying and we're having to re basically grow them in a different words. But I think that has always been something that has been very important to me. And then, I mean, there's a lot of other ones that are in the mix of politics, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like, did kind of like growing up in Naples kind of like influence like your interest in like ocean conservation, like just basically growing up by the beach?
Yeah, well, our beaches are very, very beautiful. So when I moved away and started seeing what other beaches looked like, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Why do they look like this? And then I started really paying attention and getting educated and following the different organizations and learning different random facts about that. And then I started working with organizations in Florida and Tahiti and Hawaii and Fiji and all of them to figure out kind of what exactly is going on in our oceans because the things that we're doing here in America or here in some of the other larger countries are affecting the little countries like Tahiti.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I was like, I feel like the beaches in LA
Yeah,
look a little different than the
quite
beaches in Florida
interesting.
that I've seen online.
Yes.
And then I know we're running up on time. Last two questions really quick. How do you envision like using your platform to like make a positive impact in the future?
I would say, again, going back on visibility and just being somebody who people can trust to get like trusted information from about the topics that are scary. I mean, even something as simple as voting is a lot of people get a lot of false narratives and false information on, I don't even know, there's so many random websites nowadays. And it's like, I would love for people to be like, okay, she works the very valuable source like the DNC, and we know like what she is posting is what is actually happening.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And then I feel like we've had a lot of like reflective questions, I guess, ending on like a light, like positive note. Like I know you mentioned you're going to Paris soon. Like, is there anything else you're looking forward to, like in the next few months or the rest of the year, either like personally or professionally?
I think just like I really am the happiest person on the planet. So I think I love traveling as well. So a lot of fun trips are coming up. I'm very excited for summer and, for people to take a few weeks off and go on, their little fun vacations. I love seeing my friends go to Europe because I've always said like going to Europe by yourself is something that has changed me as a person. And I love seeing my friends go and discover themselves and try out new things. I think just seeing my friends prosper is something I'm very excited about.
Yeah, no, I love that. Are you traveling anywhere this summer that's like not work related that like isn't confidential?
I haven't booked anything, but I'm planning on going to Switzerland and Italy. But maybe that won't happen. I don't know.
Hopefully it does. Fingers crossed. If it
Yeah.
does, I'm excited to see like photos from it.
Yeah, I'm very excited as well.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much again for like taking the time to like sit down and chat with us and of course do the shoot.